Welcome to my channel, it's Kay. I'm the founder of June Silk, a silk brand based in Singapore. This is our first video. I'm so excited. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my startup story, the steps that I took to launch my brand. So if you're also interested in starting your own e-commerce brand, then this is a video for you. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. First, I would like to give you a short introduction of about myself and June Silk. How I started June Silk was I was suffering from maskne last year. I'm not sure if some of you can relate to that. I was breaking out from wearing surgical masks, so I went online to search for a solution and I came across silk face masks. So I ordered some to try, and true enough, after switching to silk face mask, my maskne stopped. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is such an amazing product. I have to sell it. That's how it all started. If you're not sure what to sell, I would recommend going onto marketplace like Shopee, Lazada, Amazon, and check out what are the trending categories at the moment. Off the top of my head, I would say personal care products, fashion and beauty, consumer electronics, DIY, and hobby are all doing really well. Once you have shortlisted a few products, look at the price range. Ideally, you want to go for something that's between $25 to $70 because you have to factor in seller fees, credit card fees, advertising fees, shipping cost, because all these will eat into your profit. And you don't want to go for something that's too expensive as well, because then it's a bit harder to sell if you're an unknown new brand, and it's also harder to scale in terms of volume. About the logistics as well, like how easy is it to ship this product? You don't want something that's super heavy. You don't want something that's very fragile, that's going to break, because you're going to end up with a lot of returns. And if you want to sell overseas, ideally you want something that's light to ship as well, right? Me, Silk fulfill all that criteria. The products were between the $25 to $80 range. It's very light to ship, and there weren't too much competition. I could see a trend, a growing trend in the demand for silk products. That's why I went with silk. So step 2, you have to think about your business model. What do I mean by business model? So there are a number of ways you can do e-commerce. There's the easiest way, which is drop shipping. I'm sure you have heard stories of 16-year-olds making 6 to 7 figure from doing drop shipping, and you might have seen some YouTube ads of e-commerce gurus who claim that they can teach you all the secrets. But gone are those days. Because, alright, it's a low-risk model in the sense that you don't have to hold any inventory. You can go to AliExpress and find somebody who can drop ship for you. Okay, so you have your storefront. When someone places an order, the drop shipper will ship directly from the warehouse to your customer. Yes, it's very low risk because you don't have to hold inventory, but it's also extremely competitive because anyone can do drop shipping, and the profit margin is not that great. Option number 2 is what I went for, which is private labeling. So I went on Alibaba to find suppliers where they can put my own branding on the silk products. This one requires a little bit more effort, but you can easily find designers on Fiverr, or you can even do it yourself on Canva to design your own branding. So I would recommend to go with this approach. And the third one is a little bit more complicated because it involves manufacturing your own product. This would require more investment because most factories wouldn't even make a sample for you unless you order like 1,000 units. And if you order 1,000 units, if you're operating your business from home, do you actually have storage space for that? If you don't, you have to go and rent a warehouse, and that's going to eat into your cost as well. So for that reason, I would still go with option 2, which is private labeling. 3 is to register your business and set up your business bank account. I would highly recommend to do this step earlier in the stage of business, get it out of the way, and have everything sorted out. So in Singapore, it's fairly straightforward to register a business. It only takes a day or 2, so long you have all the necessary documents, and you can jump onto Accra and find out all the documents that you need. So it will cost about $300, $15 to register your business name, $300 to register your company. If you're not very familiar, you can also outsource this. There are companies who can do company registration for you. And once you have your business registration, then you can go set up your business bank account. For obvious reason, you don't want to mix your personal finance and your company finance. And also, if you want to accept pay now payment in Singapore, you definitely do need a bank business account. After researching a few different banks, I decided to go with UOB because there are no monthly or annual fees so long you maintain a account balance of $5,000. Next step 4 is to choose your platform. Either decide to sell on marketplaces like Amazon, Shopee, Lazada. The advantage of this is they already have a huge existing pool of users that you can tap onto, and it's also fairly quick to set up your store. You can get your store up and running in like a few days time. But the flip side of it is it's very competitive because when somebody searches for your product, you're literally being pitted against your competitors. So if you're a new seller, your product might not even appear on page 1 of the search result. And how many of us actually scroll to page 2, right? You either go for the seller that is the cheapest, that has the most reviews, or has sold the most number of units. But if you just want to test out your product, this is a good place to start. And the second option is what I went with to build my own store. Alright, I would like to emphasize it's not an either or. You can have your own branded store, but you can also sell on marketplaces because that's what a lot of brands do nowadays. So to set up your own store, you also have to choose the platform, the e-commerce platform that you want. The most popular ones would include Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento, BigCommerce. You can go do your research on the pros and cons for each. I decided to go with WooCommerce because I was already very familiar with WordPress, which manages WooCommerce. So I was very familiar with the backend of WooCommerce. When I was starting out, I didn't know if I was going to do this seriously. So I went with WooCommerce because it's free. You only have to pay for your domain name and the website hosting. Whereas Shopify is a bit different. You don't pay for hosting, but you pay for a Shopify fee because the website is hosted on your server. But either way, both are great. Step 5 is to design your brand and your store. So these days, you can go to Fiverr and look for a designer and look for a developer. I went with my current developer because he really understood what I wanted. So I actually built my website for like $500. Most marketing agencies in Singapore charge anything between $5,000 upwards to $30,000 for an e-commerce website. But you can actually find really amazing developers on Fiverr. And also, one thing that's really important is your product photos. Check with your supplier if they have photos that you can use as well, if you want to save on photography costs. Right, next step. So the last step is to connect your payment system. I remember when I made my first sale, the customer contacted me to say that she couldn't make the payment. And I wanted to check, and it was because my PayPal account still had my developer's email address, and he doesn't actually have a PayPal account. So make sure your payment systems are up and running. Currently, my website takes credit card payments, Google Pay and Apple Pay through Stripe. And I also accept PayPal and PayNow. And another important thing to set up is your customer communication. It's so important, but people don't really emphasize it enough because you want a customer to feel that they can trust you and not like you would disappear after they place an order. So I put all my contact us information everywhere. They can call us, they can email us, they can WhatsApp us, they can message us on Facebook. They can DM us on Instagram. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here today. So think about whether you have the time and resources and money to do it before you dive into it. Honestly, it's actually quite a lot of work, and it's a never-ending journey because you're always optimizing your store and finding ways to improve. I'm also on this journey to improve my store. So I'll welcome any feedback or any suggestions from you if you have any great tips to share. Okay, so if you enjoyed today's video, leave a comment, let me know, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!